Good morning in the Americas, good evening in Asia, good afternoon in Europe and Africa. It's exactly 4 p.m. here in Nairobi. Time for Citizen TV Briefs. My name is Jimmy Mbogo. Let's get you informed on some of the stories making headlines across the country. Now, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, has condemned the disruption of worship service at the Anglican Church of Kenya, ACK, Witima Parish in Nyeri County yesterday, where the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was tear-gassed and his vehicles vandalized. In a statement shared to newsrooms, NCCK listed 9 other instances where worship was interrupted by goons and the police, calling out deliberate, unwarranted and unprovoked lobbing of tear gas canisters at worshippers, saying the move was not only illegal and unconstitutional, but an attack on the church. The body now wants an unqualified apology from the CS for Interior Kipchumba Murkomen and the Inspector General of the National Police Service to the church and the religious community in Kenya, as well as speedy interdiction, investigation and prosecution of all the police officers involved in the attack on churches during worship service. And at the same time, Jubilee Party Deputy Leader Dr. Fred Matiang'i has condemned the attack on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in church. Matiang'i described the attack as a grave discretion of a sacred place of worship. He warned that permitting politicians to misuse state security forces for partisan purpose erodes the rule of law and threatens national stability.
Without county security team ya Nyeri kujua ni nini ilikuwa inafanyika, kwa sababu National Intelligence Service officers wako mpaka kwa sub county. Kukiwa na kiongozi wa upinzani kama Mheshimiwa Gachagua anaenda kwa mkutano mahali 2-3 days mbele ya hiyo, wakuu wa usalama wa hiyo wanajua kama kutafanyika mkutano wa aina hii hapa, na viongozi ambao watakuwa hapa ni akina nani na akina nani watakuwa na hayo maneno yote. Inawezekanaje basi kwa mkutano kama huo watu waingie pale waanze kutupatia kazi kwa kanisa na kuna serikali? Lazima walipata nafasi, walikuwa na habari mbeleni kwamba Mheshimiwa Gachagua atakuwa huko, ataabudu hapo.
And away from that, President William Ruto has defended the UDA-ODM coalition talks ahead of the 2027 general election by stating that the unity between the two political blocs will enable the broad-based formation win the presidential polls by a 2 to 3 million margin against closest opponents. Speaking during UDA's Party National Governing Council meeting at State House, Nairobi, the head of state assured members that their interests will be protected as the negotiations with the ODM party continue.
This election inakuja, we want to win by a margin of between 2 and 3 million. Mnanisikia? Wacha nirudie. This election, the last election, we won by a margin of 200,000. 200,000. This election, we must win by a margin of 2 to 3 million. Ndio tuunganishe Kenya, tutembee pamoja. And I am very clear in my mind. There is a reason, there is justification for us to consolidate the country into one. Listen to me. The position where I sit, there is enough for every Kenyan. One does not need to miss for the other one to get.
And away from that, a chief and a primary school teacher have been killed in a suspected terror attack in Hulugo Sub-County, Garissa County. Area Chief Abdifata Gani and Hulugo Primary School teacher Stephen Musili were killed in an overnight attack in what authorities believe was a terrorist attack. According to reports, the attackers first shot dead the chief before setting his vehicle ablaze. The assailants later opened fire on the teacher, killing him outside his house. Police have confirmed the incident, saying an operation has been launched to track down the attackers.
Hatujui leo Fred tumesimama hivi tutalala wapi, kwa sababu mwalimu alitolewa kwa nyumba yake na kupigwa marisasi kinyama. Chifu wa eneo hili pia amepigwa risasi, ameuawa usiku wa kuamkia leo. Sasa sisi tunaomba security officers na tume ya kuajiri walimu TSC ishughulikie matakwa yetu na itupeleke mahali salama, itoe huku leo.
We need security. We need to be protected as teachers. TSC, please do something. Kwa sababu we will work on it. Tutaenda huko kwa TSC offices. Hata kama tutacamp huko, we get justice. We need our teachers justice.
A very, very unfortunate incident that we are reporting there, and we'll be giving you more details as and when we receive that. Now, moving on, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos has asked school principals across the country to utilize available resources to ensure that no learner is locked out of grade 10 transition. Speaking during a roundtable meeting on education financing in Nairobi, Ogamba stated that the government has already released 50% of the capitation for the 2026 academic year, which should go along in ensuring that schools can run as they address the unique challenges of needy learners. The CS affirmed that the government's 100% transition policy is on course, with only 8% of learners yet to report to senior school.
So if, for example, you have admitted 700 students and then you have 4 or 5 who have not paid fees or who do not have school uniforms, these 5 or 4 cannot make it impossible for you to run the school. So the principals need to support the directive of the government, and we are working with the TSC. And from today, data is being collected in the field. Should we find any principal who has returned a child home on the reason of them not having school fees or of them not having school uniform, action will be taken through the employer, the TSC, including dismissal from their jobs.
And still on education matters, where at least 15 students were injured after a fire broke out early this morning at Matungulu Boys Secondary School in Machakos County. 3 dormitories were destroyed, affecting over 300 students after their personal belongings, including books, were destroyed. Authorities from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation have launched probe into the cause of the fire. Parents blame rising cases of school fires on declining morals and drug abuse and call on the government to seek intervention measures to ensure that they address the menace.
Hii ni mambo ya indiscipline. Tunaomba tafadhali wazazi, mimi nikiwa kiongozi wenu, ongeeni na vijana wenu, ongeeni na wasichana wenu, wakienda shule wawe na discipline, wa maintain discipline. Walienda hapo kusoma, walienda hapo kutafuta their future, waachane na maneno ya drugs, waachane na maneno ya kusema ati we want our right.
Tungeomba wazazi waongee na watoto wao, hii mambo ya kuchoma shule iishe. Nimeangalia nikaona dormitories imechomeka mpaka chini. Hasara ile imekuwa ni hasara kubwa sana. Hata sijui kama sisi wazazi tutaweza lipia hiyo ni hasara.
Now, moving on, protests continued in Minneapolis and other U.S. cities over the fatal shooting of 37-year-old intensive care nurse Alexi Pretty by immigration agents in Minnesota. Now, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said America was at a quote-unquote inflection point and repeated calls for U.S. President Donald Trump to remove federal immigration agents from the city. Now, Trump has signaled that he might be willing to eventually withdraw ICE agents from Minneapolis area, but has not given a time frame. Multiple vigils were held for Pretty in Minneapolis over the weekend. He is the second person to be fatally shot in the city during this Trump administration, as well as the ongoing immigration enforcement crackdown continues.
Operations, I can tell you from my perspective, the man, Alex, was not resisting. What I saw disgusted me. It made me feel sick to my stomach. And last night, before I went to bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
We demand our rights for freedom of religion, freedom of speech, a free press, our right to assemble, and no peace without justice.
We're gonna need millions.
Now, American climber Alex Honnold has successfully scaled a Taiwan skyscraper without a rope, harness, or safety equipment. The building, named Taipei 101 for the number of floors it has, is 508 meters or 1,667 feet tall, made of steel, glass, and concrete, and is designed to resemble a stick of bamboo. Honnold completed the climb in 1 hour and 31 minutes on Sunday and celebrated the achievement with one word: sick. His time more than halved the record of the only other person to scale the tower.
I was like, what a view, it's incredible. I was like, what a beautiful day. It was very windy, so I was like, don't fall off the spire. I was like trying to balance nicely. But no, I was like, what an incredible position. And I mean, what a beautiful way to see Taipei. And it's nice because we've been here all week and it's been gray and rainy, kind of socked in. And today was just so perfect and you could see for miles, super clear. I was like, couldn't be a better time to be on the top of the spire, appreciating the position.
Congratulations to him. Definitely not something I would be open to trying. Now, moving on, Kenya is hosting a major continental forum bringing together indigenous pastoralist leaders from across Africa as preparation intensifies for the United Nations International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists 2026. Now, the forum brings together delegates from across the continent to push for climate justice, secure land rights, and stronger recognition of pastoralists as key custodians of Africa's rangelands. Now, the meeting comes ahead of UNCCD COP17, where land degradation and rangelands management will be at the center of the global discussions.
The voice of indigenous peoples is now louder than ever in the halls of power. The government of the day, and again I speak for Kenya, has made deliberate strides to increase the representation of indigenous peoples in senior government positions, including cabinet, principal secretaries, and within our diplomatic corps. Because the slogan of nothing for us without us has become real, even for our governments.
The pastoralist communities' lives have been improved. Many appointments have been made to recognize the rights of pastoralists.
This gathering, we are aiming to see a roadmap from now to the next August that will be in Mongolia. The reason of it, we wanted to have one voice of all the African pastoralists.